Hi, I'm Pam Cullen from 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates, and today I'd like to show you how I made this card using the Oceanfront Stamp Set, which carried over into our new annual catalog, and I'm so happy about that because I just love everything about this stamp set. And it's, as you'll see as we go along here, it's very easy to create this really beautiful card with just different colored inks and all of the variety of stamps in the set. So we're going to be using every stamp in the set except for the rocks. We're not going to use the rocks on this particular card, but we will be using all the other images in this stamp set. And we also are going to be using the birds and the Hope It's Your Best Day Ever sentiment from Let's Set Sail. So those are the stamps that we're going to be using for this card. And now let me show you the pieces that we'll need. We are going to start out with a card base of soft suede that's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we have a piece of balmy blue that is 5 1/4 by 4 for our layering piece. Then we have a piece that's 3 3/4 by 5, which will be for stamping our images on and then we have a 5 1/4 by 4 piece that will be for the inside of our card. And I did stamp a little bit of that seagrass on the inside of the card just to carry the front into the inside a little bit. So this stamp set, both of these stamp sets actually are photopolymer stamp sets, which means that they are the clear stamps that don't have the red rubber on them. So because of that, I'm gonna go ahead and bring in my stamp and pierce mat, and we're going to do our stamping on that so that we are sure that we're going to get a good impression with our stamping. So let's just get going. We're going to stamp that front piece, we'll stamp our white piece, and then we'll put our card together. So the first color of ink we're going to use is balmy blue, and we're going to use this piece here for our sky piece. And so I'm just going to go ahead and ink that up in our balmy blue ink. Make sure we have enough ink on there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just stamp this up near the top of our page. Hold that down and hope we're going to get a nice good impression there for the sky. And we did. So then the next piece we're going to stamp is our piece for the water, that piece for our water, and we're going to actually do that in Night of Navy. However, I'm going to go ahead and stamp this off a little bit because that Night of Navy is such a dark blue ink that I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just stamp it underneath here. So we'll stamp that off a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring this over, and we're going to line this. I'm going to line this piece right up with our sky piece. Press that down. There we go. There's our nice water piece. Then we're going to bring in some crumb cake, which is going to be for our next piece of this card, which is the sand. Oops. Go ahead and ink that up in our crumb cake ink, and don't worry if you didn't get the measurements or you're not getting all of these ink colors, because all of the products that I used, the measurements and all of that stuff will be on my blog at 3milepondgirlcreates.com, so you can just head over there and get all the instructions if you'd like to recreate this card. So there is there's our sand piece, and then I'm going to bring in some soft suede, and I'm going to go ahead and take this little dotted piece here, and I'm not exactly sure what that is. That could be bubbles in the water. I'm going to use it to just give a little bit of texture to this sand, and I'm just kind of making it darker and lighter in places just to fill in. And again, that was in our soft suede. So we're going to keep that soft suede out because the rest of the pieces of this card, let me bring it back in here so you can see. The rest of the images on this card, we're going to do some of the grass, and then we're going to stamp the birds in Memento black ink and our sentiment in Night of Navy. So let's keep going here. And the first of the grasses that I'm going to go ahead and use is this nice long piece here. I'm just going to set that over here on this left-hand side of the page. And I'm trying to keep my stamping up here for the most part so we can have a little bit of white space down here to make sure that we can fit that fit our sentiment in. So we don't want to go too far down, too much further down on the page with any of our images at this point, so we have room. So on this card, I did put quite a bit of that little grasses in there and stuff, and this time I think I'm going to make it a little bit cleaner. We'll see. I am going to take this piece of, it looks like cat o' nine tails to me, but I don't know if cat o' nine tails are actually at the ocean. Not sure. So we're going to just stamp one of those. And then we're going to take that smaller piece, just fill in here a little bit. And then I'm just going to take this grass piece and take a little bit of that white space out over here. There, I think that looks good. And still we still have a place for our sentiment down here. And then I think, well, while we have this, let's do our birds, and then we'll be done with the front of our card, and then we'll go and stamp some of those grasses on the inside. But you see how quickly this card comes together, and it's a really, really pretty card, I think. I'm just going to test this a little bit. So with these birds, I've found that it's, for one thing, it's a small image. And for another thing, it's a lot of images on one stamp. So I find that you want to have a very, very light touch with this, barely touching down, because if you stamp too hard, then it kind of spreads the image out, which is not bad. Well, you can see it on this card. I did it on this card. See how, I don't know if you can see this, I'll hold it up, but see how these birds are a little bit thicker than these birds, and what happened is I just had a heavier touch on this end of the stamp on the block than this one, and it doesn't look bad. It makes it look like some are far away and some are close, so it's not bad. But if you want them to all look kind of uniform, then my suggestion would be to just keep your touch real light, especially on the smaller image stamps. So we're done with the front of our card except for the sentiment, but while I have that soft suede ink out, I'm going to go ahead and bring in our piece of 5 1/4 by 4, and we're going to just go ahead and add that those grasses on the inside down here in this right hand corner. So we'll bring that one back in, put that down here near the edge, and I'm going to come down fairly close to the bottom because I want to make sure that we leave room so we can still write our the rest of our sentiment to whoever we're going to send this card to. And this way it gives you plenty of room to still do that. And if you wanted to, you could decorate your envelope with that as well. So now that we're done with the soft suede ink, I'm going to go ahead and close that up, and we'll bring our Night of Navy back in. Actually going to close the rest of these up as well. Then we'll bring our Night of Navy in, stamp that front sentiment, and we will be ready to put this card together. So here's our sentiment. Hope it's your best day ever. And we're going to do that full strength in the Night of Navy. And I'm going to go ahead and put it over here because that seems like that's the best place. That gives me the most space over here to stamp my image. So we're going to put that right down here and hope it's straight. There, I think that looks nice. Okay, so it looks like we are ready to put this card together. So I did not use any dimensionals or anything on this card. I only used liquid glue. So it's going to go really quickly here. So we'll go ahead and glue this piece to our balmy blue piece. Just going to center that top and bottom and side to side as best we can. And that's why I like the liquid glue, because if I don't get it, which most of the time I don't the first try, but it looks like I got pretty close that time, then you have a little bit of wiggle room to straighten it out. So then we're just going to do the same thing on this front piece. Line it up. Then, lastly, we'll add this inside of our card. And there, we are all done with this card. So I think this is a really pretty card, and it came together really quickly. And I originally made this card for our team swap last month, because our challenge was to make a masculine card, and so this was the card that I made for that. But I think that this card would be perfect for anyone, and that, like I said, it is in the new annual catalog, so it did carry over, which I'm really glad about that. So like all of the products, all of the measurements will be over on my my blog at 3 Mile Pond Girl Creates. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. And if you would like one of the new annual catalogs, also we have a new mini catalog, the July to December mini catalog and celebration going on right now. So if you don't have those catalogs, then please reach out to me and I will get some right out in the mail to you. And if you are watching this video and you haven't subscribed to my channel, I would really appreciate it if you would hit the subscribe button below this video. And if you click on the little red bell, you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel today, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.